Hello students, today we shall deal with the last portion of the prose piece The Eye's Habit by Ruskin Bond. I would ask you to reach the last page of the same. Uh, Let us read the text first. She was standing very close to me, so close that the perfume from her hair was tantalizing. I wanted to raise my hand and touch her hair, but she moved away. Only the scent of perfume still lingered where she had stood. There was some confusion in the doorway. The man getting into the compartment stammered an apology. Then the door banged, and the world was shut out again. I returned to my berth. The guard blew his whistle, and we moved off. Once again I had a game to play and a new fellow traveler. The train gathered speed. The wheels took up their song. The carriage groaned and shook. I found the window and sat in front of it, staring into the daylight that was darkness for me. So many things were happening outside the window. It could be a fascinating game, guessing what went on out there. The man who had entered the compartment broke into my reverie. "You must be disappointed," he said. "I'm not nearly as attractive a traveling companion as the one who just left." "She was an interesting girl," I said. "Can you tell me, did she keep her hair long or short?" "I don't remember," he said, sounding puzzled. "It was her eyes I noticed, not her hair. She had beautiful eyes, but they were of no use to her. She was completely blind. Didn't you notice?" Now, let us know the meaning of the text. You know that the girl's station had come. The train was stopped at the station, and the girl was ready to go out. Now the girl was standing very close to the author, very close, and the perfume from her hair was tantalizing. There is some slight erotic sense maybe there in tantalizing. It simply means captivating. There is a touch of sensuousness in the word tantalizing. So we come to know that the girl had used perfume. I wanted to raise my hand and touch her hair. The author tells us that he was so full of feelings that he wanted to raise his hand and touch her hair. But she was in a hurry, maybe because she had to alight from the train and she moved off. He couldn't touch the hair. Only the scent of perfume still lingered where she had stood. You know that scent of perfume is something that lingers in the air. It just doesn't go away in a moment from any place. It lingers. If someone uses perfume and it moves off, still the scent of the perfume lingers in the air for some time. There was some confusion in the doorway. People were alighting and boarding the train compartment, and so there was some confusion in the doorway. That means at the door. A man getting into the compartment stammered an apology. Uh, at the time of alighting or boarding the train compartment, there is so much of confusion in the doorway. If someone had a collision with some other man or woman, he uh, begs an apology. So this is what is happening there. A man stammered an apology. Then the door banged. Banged is the word that refers to the fact that something gets closed with a loud sound, like a door or window, and the world was shut out again. So we see that people who were to alight or board the train had done so, and after that the door banged and was closed, and with it the inside the train the world inside the train compartment and outside of the train compartment, these two worlds were set apart. I returned to my berth. Now the author returned and sat again on his berth. The guard blew his whistle. This is what happens. The train again sets for the journey, and the guard first blows his whistle, and then the train starts. So the guard blew his whistle and we moved off. The author tells us the guard finally blew the whistle, and the train took up the journey again. I regained to play, and a new fellow traveler. Now, in place of the girl, a new companion had come in the compartment before the author. The train gathered speed, the wheels took up their song, the carriage groaned and shook. I found the window and sat in front of it, staring into the daylight, then in darkness for me. There's very minute details here. The author even makes beautiful the sound of the wheels, the sound of the groaning of the compartment or train compartment, and the shaking of the train compartment. All these things are very beautifully described by the author. I found the window, as the author says, he found the window and sat in front of it, staring into the daylight. He just stares outside through the window, but he can see nothing. So he says that he, through the window, he tries to look outside, but the daylight, it may be daylight outside the window, but it was almost darkness for me because it couldn't see. So many things were happening outside the window. So many things were happening outside the window. The fact is that so many things are passing in quick succession as the train is running. And so this is what has been said by the author. It could be a fascinating game, guessing what went down out there. The man who had entered the compartment broke into my reverie. Now the author tells us that a man who had entered the compartment broke into his reverie. Reverie means daydream. A man with open eyes thinks and thinks over something, and it may be said that he is daydreaming. So this is called reverie. You must be disappointed, he said. The man said that the author must be disappointed. I'm not nearly as attractive a traveling companion as the one who just left. The man said that he was not as attractive a traveling companion as was the girl. Then the author, in response to that, says that she was an interesting girl. The author tells that the girl was interesting and asks the companion if he could tell him if the girl kept her ears long or short. And this is uh, in a way an unusual question. So the new companion was surprised. He says, I don't remember, sounding puzzled. He a little puzzled or wonders and says he doesn't remember. It was her eyes I noticed, not her hair. The man says that he didn't notice the girl's hair, but of course he noticed her eyes. She had beautiful eyes, but they were of no use to her. The man says that the girl had really beautiful eyes, but the eyes were of no use to her. Now our suspense rises. Suspense is going to climax. She was completely blind. Yeah, here comes the climax. The man says that she might have eyes. She had beautiful eyes, but they were of no use to her, and the girl was completely blind. And the text ends with, didn't you notice? Now the text ends with the question, didn't you notice? Now this question is uttered by the man companion because he is surprised. In the last para we see that he is surprised twice. First, when the author asks him if the girl had hair long or short, he is surprised again this question. And this question is indicative of the fact that he is surprised again. So here in the last para we see that the story comes to climax, where the author gets a jerk, as well as the readers like us, we also get a jerk, and sudden realization is revealed to us that the girl is also blind. And this is the interesting thing in the story. So in the whole story we see that the author has done a great job. He has written a beautiful story, and we are remembered of the insight that we find in great authors like Maupassant or O. Henry and the like. The psychological insight, the sharp wit, and an intelligence that we can see that he uses in describing the minute details, the sound of the wheels, the sound of the shaking compartment, the sound of the engine, uh, again the confusion at the door of the compartment, um, while talking of the vendors, the porters at the railway station, uh, and in describing the places, beautiful places of Dehradun. Uh, so uh, altogether we find a beautiful story in this prose piece. Uh, it is such a story, as we can read it again and again. It will entice you to read it. It will not suffice to read this story just once. Now we'll follow some questions and answers. I will try to give you some task from this story in my next video. Till then, I would tell you to read it again for yourself and get the meaning of the story. And till then, bye bye.